Welcome to the Badger Den. Welcome to a Tuesday, guys. A lot of not so great stuff to get into. Basically, we're going to look at Trump trolling Gavin Newsom and Pritzker. It's fantastic, basically just punking them and getting into why he keeps getting his troop requests denied. And it's surprising which kind of judge is doing it. It's a conservative judge, supposedly. And Mayor Brandon basically gives up the bag, so to say. He is pretty much declaring an insurrection for Trump to give troops to be put into Chirac. So, again, showing that commies are just so dumb, they basically play into Trump's hand at this point. And we're going to do a friendly Terri reminder. I've done this previously. If you've been following me for a while, I've called out that terrorists are indeed in this country. And we're going to go specifically where a lot of this is being cited from and who it's being cited from, not just from the sources, but from the woman herself. And, of course, we're going to cite saving that money. Welcome to the Badger Den, everybody. Like, subscribe, join in to the Badger Den. Have fun. Hit that subscribe, man. Fight the commies. Fight the commies. All right. Trump sends in the boys. That's right. He federalizes the National Guard. He sends him. Oh, he got denied. At least that's what happened on October 4th. And then October 5th, he's like, you know what? Fine. I'm not going to federalize your troops. I'm going to take California's troops. They're just right across the border. We'll sit. Got denied again. What is going on? Well, it turns out there's a horrible C-nut of a judge that is blocking Trump, and she is a Trump appointee. Of course, it's a woman. She has blocked now Trump twice. First time she is citing that Trump is trying to send in troops that the Portland PD can solve these issues. Now remember, the ICE centers that are being attacked, the Portland PD have stated they will stand down. They're allowing them to be attacked, and the federal buildings are being cited for violations for boarding up windows, for creating a blockade from these Antifa protesters. So the federal government's not allowed to protect themselves, but yet it's not complete lawlessness according to this judge. So the judge is saying, no, you can't send in troops just for law. Yeah, he can. He can send in troops for lawlessness if the PD is not going to do their job. If they're not going to enforce the laws, that is a third and final requirement that is possible to send in troops to a state without authorization by the governor. It's there, sorry. And just to show how dumb this judge is, she is citing the 10th Amendment, stating that, okay, well, you can't send them in because of the 10th Amendment. Yes, any and all powers that are not enumerated in the Bill of Rights then are retained by the states. Okay? Yes, we get that. Okay, look up the Insurrection Act. Look up the National Guard. That rolls up under the states, which then fall into the Trump as part of the military, where he can federalize them, where he can nationalize them. It's all part of the process. You think that this woman would know that, and what I think she does, she's just being a C-nut. So we'll see how this plays out. It's rumored that right now Trump is looking to talk to Abbott and get troops from Texas and sending them there. He is also, of course, looking to do those same troops into Chirac. So Chirac, troops were initially announced troops were deployed on October 4th. Then Texas got the call for the deployment. Abbott said, sure, we'll do that. And then Pritzker now is suing. Now, Pritzker is suing for the same reason that you saw the governor of Oregon sue, and that is to just basically block the troops, saying he can't do that, he can't federalize the troops, he can't send them in. Except now he has very good cause, because Brandon, good old dumb Brandon, let's go Brandon, has decided to cite that there's certain areas in Chicago that federal troops cannot go, ICE agents cannot go, that there are ice-free zones. They're hot, man. They're hot. No ice here. Good old Brandon. So Brandon's ice-free zones are going to work about as well as gun-free zones. So basically, if you say they're gun-free over here, guns are going to get in there. And that's what's going to happen. All these ice-free zones, I guarantee you, they're going to send ICE agents in there just to troll him. Because he cannot do this. Here he is, Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson, announcing that he has signed his own little dumb executive order saying that these zones now are ICE free. ICE can no longer go into those zones. I mean, you just played right into Trump's hand, didn't you? Now, the court case for Pritzker has not been ruled on yet. So this is evidence that can be entered in on behalf of Trump's team to show, hey, here's a valid insurrection. Here is a Chicago mayor who is obviously going beyond his authority to do whatever the F he wants. I mean, it's pretty clear cut here. Good on Trump to send in the troops now. He just gave him the what for. Because previously he was under the lawlessness. Now this is clear insurrection. So good job, Mayor Brandon. Let's go, Brandon. All right. Want to point out here why this is so critical. Mayor Brandon has ordered the Chicago PD to stand down and do not help ICE agents, even when they were being fired upon. Even when they were being fired upon by Antifa, they were ordered to stand down. And the question is, why is Trump sending all these agents into these Antifa hotspots? I think Trump knows that a lot of the money and funding that is going to Antifa is indeed being generated by not just by Soros, but also by NGOs that were formerly being funded by USAID. It goes to show that if you shut off the money faucets, you can actually cripple an organization. So here's hoping that Trump gets his wish and is able to take Antifa out of the equation. Got to get those brown coats gone. All right. And as bad as that is, guys, it gets worse. And I hate to be the bearer of bad news. Okay, we try to do everything on Serious Monday. It's not Serious Tuesday, Mouthy. What are you doing? I know. But I just want to point out Sarah Adams is continuing to make the round. Sarah Adams, if you don't know who she used to work for the CIA. She was a very famous targeter for the CIA. She was an analyst. She was basically able to say, hey, this is going to happen over here. I can see all these puzzle pieces coming together. And guess what her specialty was? It was terrorist organizations. You're talking ISIS, you're talking Al-Qaeda, you're talking Hamas. This was the woman that saw the puzzle pieces, where they were going and where they needed to focus. Okay, so she has some legit credentials. She has been sounding the warning bells for a year now. And she is now, I've just noticed her again, she is now really ringing those bells. She is really going nuts. Earlier this year, I believe it was early this year, she went on the Sean Ryan show. She is now just gone on the Brandon Tatum show, and she's also just now on the David Rutherford show. All the stuff, if you catch any of those shows, they're all basically going over the same stuff. So we're going to concisely go through it together so you don't have to watch those shows, or if you do, I highly recommend them. I believe Sean Ryan's was one of the longest. Brandon Tatum's, if you're looking for something a bit shorter, and Rutherford is basically a rehashing of Brandon, so whichever style you like, go grab it. But if you don't want to watch those shows, you don't have the time, because again, it takes a couple hours to get through them, let me break it down for you. What she cites is in 2021, the plots were hatched. In 2021, when Biden came into office, they saw what was happening along the border, and these terrorist organizations, there are multiples that are all working together, according to her, that have basically pulled the different threads together and saying, hey, ISIS, hey, Al-Qaeda, hey, Hamas, let's all work together and take down the big bad meanie. We're going to take down the U.S. So with that, they're all working in conjunction, and they hashed out a plot in 2021. Whatever that is, it has something to do, I believe it's citing even here, airline plots, sieges, Allied Networks reform, retrain, infiltrate the West. Basically, if you go back and look at it, she's basically saying that they're trying to do a 9/11-esque style attack, except focusing more on stadiums where there's a large concentration of people. That is their goal, is to do some sort of attack in a large confined space with a lot of people. That is their target. Question where and when, who knows? In 2022, the Terries came, of course, from the open border, both on Canada and the Mexico side. And they came through student visas. That's right. All of those student visas that the State Department was trying to revoke, that the lefties were getting upset about, all these terrorist sympathizers, well, there might be a reason they were trying to revoke them in the first place. And the government knew. The government knew that at least 1,400 Terries were imported by the Biden administration from Afghanistan during the botched Afghanistan withdrawal. They literally just sucked in 1,400 Terries. They know it. They admit to it. And it gets worse than that. They also know that there are cells already set up here in the United States. I saw this myself with my own eyes on the Senate Hearing Commission on this very thing. She's citing specific things that she's talking about regarding the Afghanistan withdrawal. I did not actually know those. I just heard from those specifically in her interviews that she cites those. So with that, we're basically pointing out a portrait of what they're trying to accomplish. And that is a terrorist attack that's worse than 9/11, that creates a mental scar, emotional scar in the U.S. on the par with a Pearl Harbor attack. They are looking to give us a huge black eye. Not just a black eye, but a broken bone. If 9/11 was a black eye, you would say Pearl Harbor is definitely a broken leg or something. That's what they're trying to accomplish. So they're really trying to cripple us with this attack. So again, guys, this is something that could have been prevented if we did not allow open borders, which is what the Democrats are supporting. Again, rainbow hair out there. If you want to debate me on this, please, somebody explain to me why we had open borders, why we imported terrorists, why the Biden administration did all this, if it's not to take down the U.S. from the inside. That's what they're doing, and if you're voting that way, you're helping support this. With all that bad stuff, let's get into some good stuff. The Democrats refused to vote on a resolution today. Good on them. Good on them. They wanted an additional $200 billion to give to illegals in a lot of blue states. Of course, Illinois, Colorado, Oregon, California, New York, Vermont, pretty much Massachusetts, giving out free candy to illegals via healthcare. Fungible. Look it up. That's how they're doing it. $200 billion. They needed that money to give their new constituents that they're allowing here in the U.S. And if you don't believe me, here's a fantastic statistic. In 2015, 3% of the births were potentially illegal. That's kind of the estimate they had in Texas. 3% in Texas were illegals. It is now up to 50% of the births in Texas are illegals. There's your new constituency. There's your new Democratic Party voting base. There you go. They are growing it right now in the United States. So long, guys. For now, we've got about $31 billion saved at least until we deport apparently another 20 million illegals. Probably 30 million because they've got 2 million out. Need about 28 million more to go. Mouthy signing off. Don't forget the 4Gs, guys. Guns, Gold, and Grub. Subscribe, like, fight those commies.